If you're a federal employee, you know there are really two seasons, the regular ones, and then there's open season. Oh yeah, that frantic spreadsheet-fueled window where you have to make these huge decisions about your health coverage for the entire next year.
And then, just like that, poof, the window slams shut. The annual federal benefits open season is over. You made your choice, for better or for worse, and now you're locked in, right? Well, maybe not.
This feeling is just so incredibly common. I mean, look at this comment from a federal employee on Reddit. They wanted to switch plans, but they felt totally trapped. The fear of disrupting their daughter's therapy, you can feel the pressure right there. It just shows you how high the stakes are when you feel like you only get one shot at this each year.
Which brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Life doesn't really care about the calendar. People get married, they have kids, they move, they change jobs. So if your life takes a sharp turn tomorrow, are you seriously stuck with a health plan that just doesn't work for you anymore, all the way until next November? But what if I told you that the calendar isn't the boss of your benefits? What if there's a way for your coverage to actually catch up with your life when it happens, not months later?
And that brings us to the hero of our story today, the Qualifying Life Event, or QLE for short. Now, this isn't some secret loophole. It's an official tool straight from OPM, the folks who manage all of this. They define it as a major change in your life, like getting married, having a baby, or even losing other health coverage. And when that happens, it unlocks something called a special enrollment period, which is your ticket to change your benefits outside of that crazy open season rush.
So what is a QLE exactly? What actually counts? Let's break it down, because these are not some obscure technical things. We're talking about some of the biggest moments in your life. Okay, first up, the big one, a change in your family status. This is probably what most people think of. We're talking about getting married, having a baby, adopting a child, or even bringing a foster child into your home. And, life happens on the other side too. So this also covers tough events like a legal separation, a divorce, or the death of a spouse or a dependent. These are all moments where your family's needs can change in an instant. But it's not just about what's happening at home. Your career path can also open this door. A change in your employment status is another huge QLE. This could mean you're reemployed after a break in service, or you're coming back to work after being on leave without pay. Maybe you just went from a temp to a permanent position. That counts. Basically, if your fundamental relationship with your federal job changes, your benefits can too. And the third major category, this one is so important, you or a family member losing other health coverage. Think about it. Maybe you were covered by your spouse's plan and they just lost their job. Or you moved and suddenly your HMO won't cover you. This also applies if you lose eligibility for other big programs like TRICARE or CHAMFA. The whole point is to make sure you don't suddenly find yourself without any health coverage at all. So let's just put these two side by side to make it super clear. Open season, that's triggered by the calendar. It's those same few weeks every year for everyone. A special enrollment period, though, is triggered by your life, by a QLE, and the timing is totally different. Instead of a set window in the fall, you get a very specific 60-day window that starts the moment your QLE happens.
And that brings us to the most critical part, actually taking action. Because knowing what a QLE is one thing, knowing what to do about it, that's where you really take control. And it all boils down to that 60-day window. If you remember one number from this entire explainer, please let it be this one, 60. 60. OPM rules say you have 60 days from the date of the qualifying life event to make a change. Not 61. If you miss that window, you're almost certainly waiting until the next open season. So yeah, 60 days. That's your magic number.
Okay, so what do you actually do? It sounds complicated, but it's really not. It boils down to 4 basic steps. First, just confirm that what happened to you is in fact a QLE. Second, do your homework and pick the new plan that's right for your new life. Third, submit the request, usually online. And fourth, be ready with some proof, like a marriage certificate or a birth certificate. Now, who do you actually talk to? This is key. If you are an active employee, your first stop is your agency's HR office. You'll probably use an online portal like Employee Express or MyPay, or maybe fill out the old school SF-209 form. But, and this is a big but, if you are retired, an annuitant, you have to contact the OPM Retirement Information Center directly. Totally different process. And you might be wondering, well, what can I actually change? The answer is a lot. You can enroll for the very first time. You can change from one plan to another. You can increase your coverage, like going from self-only to self and family when you have a baby. You can even decrease your coverage or cancel it altogether if, say, you get other qualifying insurance. It's really flexible.
So let's bring it all home. What's the real takeaway here? It's all about changing how you think about your federal benefits, not as this rigid once-a-year headache, but as a flexible tool that's actually meant to fit your life.
So here it is, the big idea. Your benefits are designed to follow your life, not just the calendar. That awful feeling of being locked in for a whole year, for the most part, it's a myth. The reality is the system is built to adapt when your life changes. And just knowing that you have these options, that's incredibly empowering. And that leaves us with one last question for you to think about. Now that you know you're not a prisoner of the calendar, what's the next big change on your horizon? And how are you going to make sure your benefits are ready for it when it comes?